What's up, all you cool people? This is Bjorvio of the Anime Dads podcast, and I just wanted to wish you all a very happy day because you get the newest episode of the Anime Dads podcast, and I have the pleasure of being in your ears. Isn't that cool? Now, unfortunately, it is just me today because the Anime Dad is out doing free water scuba diving in the middle of an active volcano. But don't worry, because he should return momentarily with a tan. So for this week, you get me, but don't worry. We have such amazing stuff planned. We're going to have some great improv. We're going to have some great discussion about my top 10 My Hero Academia characters. I know there was a big list that came out not too long ago of who was voted in the top 10, and that's cool, and that's awesome. I disagreed with things on there. So I made my own list, and you guys are going to get to hear it here. There we go. And then we'll have some improv at the end. And I know what you're saying, Bjorvio. How in the world are we going to get improv when it's just you? Well, thankfully, I can do a bunch of voices. So I'm going to come up with questions, and we are going to bring in some guests on the show that, you may have heard their voice before. And I will have the distinct pleasure of interviewing our guests. So this time around, we have Tomura Shigaraki joining us. And, I really tried hard, no offense, Tomer, but I tried really hard to find somebody that he just wouldn't instantly clash with. So like Bakugo and Deku and All Might, that just wouldn't be well. We want our guests to be comfortable here on the Anime Dads podcast, okay? So, I kind of had to think a little bit outside the box. So instead, I brought on Vegeta, the Prince of All Saiyans. I think they'll be able to get along just fine, but who knows? Anyway, let's get into it. Tomura, do you have anything you would like to say to anyone before we get started?
I just wanted to say that I'm so happy to be here and that you were giving me a mic in order to really express both the interest of the League of Villains as well as the Metahuman Liberation Army.
Well, I didn't say anything about that. I'm just asking you for some improv.
If you knew what's good for you, you'll hand me the mic and give me about 30 minutes or so. I promise. I'll make sure everyone knows how great Villain Society can be. It'll really promote your show, I'm sure.
Um, yeah, how about you give me about 30 minutes to finish this, or so, and then I'll give you the microphone. Does that sound like a compromise?
That'll do. Okay, thank you.
No problem. Vegeta, hey, just out of, no real reason, just pure curiosity, are you able to be decayed?
That's not really a question I've ever been asked. Of course I'm not. I'm the Prince of all Saiyans. You think anyone could just walk up and disintegrate me?
Well, if you're willing to put that to the test, I would be more than happy to demonstrate the power of my decay.
I would be more than happy to see how powerful you are, but
Hey, guys, buddies, fellas, let's just get into the improv questions, okay? Let's do that. Tomura, you're gonna be up first. So my question for you is, you have to buy a gift for somebody, and as you are looking in the store, you come across different sections of the store. So like you don't know whether to what kind of gift you're going to get them. Maybe they want a board game, maybe they want some clothing, but you find out that they sell magical items here, and you decide to get somebody a gift. Whose gift are you getting, and what is the magical item that you find that ends up being perfect for them, and do they return it?
Oh, well, I guess I should probably get one for some of the League members, but honestly, I never really got Master anything, so I will probably get him. I'll probably go around the store. What do you get someone who has all of what they want? So I can't get him a new quirk. Probably just a turtleneck sweater. You know, he doesn't really seem like he has a whole lot of those. His neck's always exposed somehow. Or maybe I'll get him like one of those sleep masks and then draw some eyes on it. I bet he would really like that. He'd probably just wear it all the time and use his eyes and say they are his real eyes.
Okay, and do you think he'll return it?
Oh, most definitely. And that's fine.
Okay, make sure you keep the receipt on that one. Um, Vegeta, question for you. So you are a prince of the Saiyan race, and let's say, for example, that the Saiyans were not a prince; they were a monarchy. They were a democracy. Okay, and so you were a representative of part of the planet Vegeta. Okay, so what would be your campaign slogan? How would you get people to vote for you?
You need to vote for me or I'll blow up this planet.
Isn't that kind of what Frieza? You would blow up your planet? I mean, that kind of seems dumb.
Of course I wouldn't blow up Vegeta. Anyone knows I wouldn't be talking about that. I'd be talking about that planet over there.
And why do Saiyans care about if you blow up a planet?
Yeah, that's a good question. Because Frieza wouldn't get to own it.
So isn't that a good thing?
Obviously.
Did you think your campaign slogan through all that well there, buddy?
Do you like having your head on your shoulders?
Point taken. Okay, Shigaraki. As you know, you this will be your final question, by the way. So you have a quirk that's called decay, and so you can pretty much touch anything with your five fingers, and then it will decay it. So my question is, what if you like? Since obviously you have to have five fingers that are touching it, that's kind of similar to how Uraraka's works in a way, except she has to use the fingertips on her thing. So would what would a fusion between your quirk and Uraraka's quirk look like?
Huh. I've honestly never considered that one. Let me see. So you have decay, and then you have zero gravity. So I would say the most useful thing that my quirk could do is probably just decay pretty much anyone. We could maybe even have them float, and then as they float, they decay away. So kind of like a delayed decay almost.
I see. And as you know, one of her side effects is that she gets nauseous. So do you think you would get nauseous after using decay so much?
I pretty much already do anyway. I mean, it's not exactly pleasant. It's not like I find joy in decaying things.
It really kind of seems like you do, if we're being honest.
Oh, no, no, no. That's only when the cameras are around. Usually I go up and I upchuck anyway.
Okay. Good to know, I guess. And thank you for being on the show. We really appreciate it. Now, Vegeta, your final question is: as you say, Kakarot is a clown, right? You've said that plenty of times, and you have. I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but he tends to steal a lot of his techniques from other people, such as like, oh, I don't know, the Kaioken, the Spirit Bomb, the solar flare, flying, like Kamehameha. All of these are from other people. Well, you tend to have pretty unique abilities. So let's say that you did have to stoop lower to Kakarot's level. Which ability of his would you use and why?
None of them!
Um, that's not exactly how this works.
I don't need the help of Kakarot the clown.
Okay. Would it be easier to go with somebody else or like
Can you imagine me going around saying Kamehameha? Like, no, it's so much more fun to say Final Flash! So, but if I guess I had to have one. Hmm.
yeah, just if you had to have one, like just pick one, anyone. It really doesn't matter.
I would like to be able to grow back my tail and fly like a helicopter.
A helicopter tail.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Okay. Are you sure you just don't want your tail back?
I miss it so much. Why is it gone?
It's okay. It's okay. You know what? I'll lead him backstage. Come on, Princey boy. Let me go tell you the story of how I decayed an entire city.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Thank you.
Of course, anytime.
Yeah. This,
I'm not gonna lie, guys. This was probably one of the weirdest interviews I've ever had.
hey. Anyway, thanks. Thanks. We're back. Okay. So now let's get into the rest of the episode before they decide to come back. So, I for those of you that are aware, the My Hero community did have a popularity poll that um, essentially everyone voted for their favorite characters, and those characters got ranked in by the number of votes, and you know how a popularity system works. So I'm going to read off the top 10 here in reverse order. If you aren't aware. So number 10 was Monoma, number 9 was Shigaraki, number 8 was Dabi, number 7 was Hawks, number 6 was Endeavor, number 5 was Kirishima, number 4 was Aizawa, 3 was Shoto, 2 was Deku, and 1 was Bakugo. Now, obviously, some of these are I do agree with. I think they're great, and some of them I might not agree with, but I can see, where they kind of came across. Except Monoma, I don't understand that. If Monoma is one of your favorite characters, please, please enlighten me on why he's so great. Okay, maybe it's just a me thing. I don't know, but I can't stand the guy. So, and maybe I'm just missing the point. So please reach out, let me know. Yeah, there's some things on there that I disagree with. Bakugo being number one, cool. I get that. That's fine. Why is All Might not on this list? I'll never understand that. Never understand that. Anyway, so we're gonna jump in today with who I would have picked to be on my top 10 list. Before we get into it, I do have a couple of honorable mentions that might surprise you and might not. Honorable mention number one, Endeavor. Endeavor's cool. Endeavor's great. I like his character arc. I think he's very well written. I can't forgive him though. That's essentially what it comes down to. He's like, I'm not saying Endeavor's not cool, but yeah, he's not exactly a great guy. Anyway, number two, Ochako or Araka. She needed more screen time. She's great, um, but she did not get enough screen time. And then when she did, she had some really cool fights, like with Baki. Oh, I guess I will try and avoid spoilers for the series in this. Okay, I will do my absolute best. So anyway, she had some pretty cool fights in the series. One versus Bakugo, the one that she had in season 7 was amazing. Very well animated, very emotional too. Like, oh my gosh, it was great. She just needed more screen time. And the final mention is Toga. I'm not going to lie, Toga was not my favorite in the beginning, but she did kind of grow on me throughout the series. I really appreciated her, especially, in season 7. Toga really, really, really became someone who was really stinking cool to me. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that. So now, with all the honorable mentions out of the way, let's get into the actual list. Starting from number 10, working our way up. Number 10, Jean Bubai Gawara, otherwise known as Twice. Twice is one of my favorite villains in the entire series. I love his little antics of like, oh, well, yeah, I know these guys. Who are they? Like all those personality things that he has. He's hilarious. He's so funny. And so you'd think he's just there for comedic relief until you find out he's actually got a pretty sad story. And when he kind of goes through an arc in the My Villain Academia arc that just is it's so stinking cool. Twice is when he finally like unlocks that part of him, he's just mm, chef's kiss, amazing. And then season 6 comes along and Twice again plays a very critical role in the Liberation War to some extent. But yeah, Twice is just I love his quirk. I love his growth as a character, and I love his motives. Like Twice to me could have been a fantastic hero, but just, he was on the wrong side of the law. But really, he had the same motivations as a lot of the heroes in the show. And I think that's what the show does really well is capture what it means to be a hero, but also that villains, most of them were just turned out that way by the corrupt hero society. And Twice is a prime example of that. So, yeah, Twice is great, but he's not the best villain on this list, in my opinion. Speaking of villains, now coming in at number 9, we have the hero killer Stain. And do I know his real name? No. I could look it up though, but I'm not going to. Because what's there to know other than Stain? Stain is awesome. I Even though he doesn't get a lot of screen time, when he's on screen, his presence is known. Okay, he commands the screen when he's on stage, and for the most part, wrong character. Stain has some pretty interesting motives. He's kind of like the Qui-Gon Jinn of the Jedi Order, where he he understands what society needs, quote unquote, and he is willing to go and do what other people aren't willing to, and that is expose heroes, fake heroes, and get them to realize what it means to truly be a hero. That is a very honorable motive. The problem is his methods are horribly wrong. And that's what I respect about him. It's not that he's wrong, it's his motives are terrible. Or not his motive. His methods are terrible, but his motives are awesome in a way, mostly, kind of, sort of. You kind of have to work around them. But, I mean, yeah. And he's just super intimidating. The fact that, I mean, yes, he was able to take on Ida, Deku, and Shoto. I mean, yes, it was season 2 of all of those, but still, think about it. Without any blood, he's essentially quirkless. And he's still able to take on the three of them pretty much with just his weapons and occasionally getting a good taste of of Deku's blood. So, but yeah, Stain's really cool. And the fact that he then recognized Deku as a hero and saved him from the Nomu, that's pretty darn sick. And really shows how great Deku is. But we'll talk about Deku later. But yeah, number 9, Hero Killer Stain is just awesome. I just wish he had a better nose. Coming in at number 8, we have Dobby. And if you know, you know. Dobby is one of the most well written characters in the entirety of My Hero Academia. And I absolutely adore the fact that Dobby is such a pivotal part of the show. When it's interesting because you don't really think he is going to be at first. But Dobby has such an interesting power as well. He's got great character development, and he's, like I said, he's just incredibly well written, even from the beginning. And his actions and motive really start driving the plot forward around seasons, well, even part of 5, mostly 6. He's just a very awesome character with a great design, and quite honestly, he's just one of those characters that, like, I don't know, I kind of wish he was introduced a little bit earlier in the series, but it is what it is. He was introduced when he needed to be, and yeah, he's just an absolute beast. So there's not much more to say about Dobby without getting into spoilers, so I'm just going to leave it at that. And move on to our number 7, who I really wish I could rank higher, but this is when things really started getting hard. And so I'm going to go with somebody who I absolutely adore and really wish could be higher, but alas, there are characters that I think are better. And that is Shota Aizawa, otherwise known as Eraserhead. We all need an Eraserhead in our life. He's such a phenomenal mentor to these kids, and he truly understands them, even from the beginning. During the sports festival, when he understands why Bakugo is not holding back and taking on Uraraka seriously, even when most of the crowd is booing Bakugo, Aizawa gets it. And then again in season 3, when Aizawa's giving the interview on TV about Bakugo, you know, you really show that Aizawa knows his students. Or when the sports training, when he came up with trainings for each of their quirks to make them better, each and every single one of them was effective. Do you understand how hard that is for all the students in Class 1A with their diverse quirks? Aizawa is just a really good teacher. And not only that, he's an amazing pro. Okay. So when you think about it, look at all the people Aizawa was able to take on. Just in season one, he took on a horde of enemies by himself and and even tried against a Nomu. And I love the quote that he told Deku then when Deku's like, you're not very good at fighting a horde of enemies. And Aizawa just turns to him and is like, if you only got one trick, then you can't really call yourself a hero. Or, something along those lines. That is so cool. And then later in the seasons, Aizawa shows how much of a absolute stud and amazing hero he is. Especially that one scene in season 6 when he doesn't even blink. Like, I'm sorry. That's just amazing. I don't know how he did that, but kudos to him. And I also kind of enjoy a little bit like the arc that he has with President Mike and the guy who passed away. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But anyway, that's kind of cool. I wish that got a little bit more screen time. I wish that, give or take, season 8's still coming out as the time of this recording, so it's possible that it might. I don't know. But in the manga, I wish it would have gotten more time than it did to fully get fleshed out. But I digress. Anyway, Shota Aizawa, one of the best teachers and mentor figures in anime. I absolutely adore him. Not necessarily because of what he does for Midoriya, specifically the MC, but for what he does for the class as a whole. And that I like that he doesn't really single out Midoriya versus other mentors like really single out the MC. Versus Aizawa does a really good job of doing the class as a whole. Absolutely standout phenomenal. Number 6, we are coming into another controversial one, but at this point is when I mean, like I said, it gets hard here. It gets really hard, okay? I did the best I could, but somebody had to be number 6. And in this case, number 6 belongs to Shoto Todoroki. I know, I know, I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's not that Shoto isn't one of the bestest boys, okay? He is one of the bestest boys. We love Shoto. He's one of the best written characters in the show. His transformation is a little bit more subtle than other characters, but Shoto's personality is a little bit more subtle than some of the other characters. And I really like how he steps into his own after his fight with Deku in season 2. And from then on, Shoto's a completely different person. And thank goodness, because his costume in season 1 is awful. Okay, let's just address that. It's terrible. Once we get past that horrible costume, Shoto is amazing. But season 1 Shoto is one of the sassiest people in the entire show, and I love that. I just wish his costume was better. And again, I understand why he has that costume. I get it. But after that, we never see it again, and it's so much better. Shoto Todoroki is one of those. There's not really anything bad you can say about Shoto. He's a great character. His quirk is great. The way he uses it throughout the show just keeps getting better and better. I love his arc. He's just one of the bestest boys. I just didn't connect with him as much as some of the other characters, therefore he's at number 6. That does not mean he's a bad character. I'm just saying, somebody had to be number 6, and unfortunately, in this case, it was Shoto. And I'm very sorry for that, Shoto Todoroki, if you're choosing to listen to this podcast. All right, moving on to number 5. Slight disclaimer. Numbers 5, 4, 3, and 2 are pretty much, depending on the day, can interchange a lot. And vary a lot. So, this is just today's ranking. So then it might change tomorrow or next week. But anyway, number 5 is the final villain on the list. So we've had twice, we've had Stain, and now we have the main bad guy. Homura Shigaraki. Oof. I could make a whole episode about Tomura. He's incredible. His growth as a character is really stinking cool. And by the end, what I love is that you you don't really know how to feel about Shiggy by the time season 8 comes around. Because part of you feels bad for him, part of you loves him, part of you agrees with him, part of you doesn't want him to succeed. And I think that just goes to show how well of a character Tomura is. He's got a great quirk that develops really well throughout the series, and I love how the first few seasons you really I don't think you're really supposed to like him. But then he starts growing on you. And recently I've been rewatching My Hero from the beginning. And yeah, Tomura is a little bit hard to swallow in season 1 and part of season 2. But after his conversation with Deku is when I really started noticing, like, oh, that's when the change happened. Okay, I like this. Now, Tomura is honestly one of my favorite villains in all of anime. And at times, I struggle to even call him a villain, but he most definitely is. His story is amazing, and it's really hard to talk about him without getting into spoilers. But yes, man, Tomura is an incredible, incredible character and makes for a fantastic villain throughout the entire course of the series. And now, going from the main villain, we're going to the main character, Izuku Midoriya, otherwise known as Deku. Deku, even though he's number 4 on this list, don't get me wrong. Deku is an amazing and well-written character. He kind of is a little bit like in a way he's like a modern Goku where Deku some could argue Deku doesn't change much throughout the series because it changes those around him similar to how Goku was back in the early days of Z. I guess kind of still is. But then I also like to I don't necessarily agree with that because I think Deku does change quite a bit throughout the course of the series. You like yes, season 1 Deku does cry a lot. Season 2 Deku does cry a lot. Season 3 Deku does cry on occasion. But and I think Deku gets a bad rap for that because you got to put yourself in Deku's shoes. You live in a world with 80% of the population has superpowers. You have none. You want to be a hero, but you can't. And you get bullied a lot because you don't have a power. Okay? And that's rough. And then you meet your hero, and he tells you what?
Young man, you cannot become a hero without a quirk.
I'm sorry, that would crush just about anybody. So then he goes like a few hours later, due to his actions trying to save his friend, he hears,
Young man, you too can become a hero. Oh, and not just any hero, you can develop my power. Here you go. Eat this!
like, I'm sorry. I would have cried too. And then he gets to live his dream, which he thought was impossible. He enters the sports festival and he does well, and he has to learn how to use this quirk that breaks his body, and he's not really ready for it. Like, I understand why Deku cries so much. Like, I get it. I really think I probably would too, and a lot of people would, right? And then the way that Deku uses his quirk and becomes this his own hero, I just love it. Even in season 6 during the Vigilante arc. That is some of the best Deku we will ever see. Okay? And even current Deku, like what we're seeing in season 7 and season 8, is amazing. He's never given up. He's never changed what his motivation is. Maybe his methods have, but Deku himself is the same kid at heart of I'm going to be a hero and I'm going to make that happen. I will save people. That's what I want to do, just like All Might. Deku is an amazing and well written hero. Okay, MHA or not, he's a great MC, and I will always stand on that. Number three, so we have number five with being the main villain. We have the four being the main character. Number two and number three really can switch out even depending on the day. But number two, or I'm sorry, number three, we have Katsuki Bakugo. I'm, Katsuki Bakugo, again, you want to talk about character growth? Look at Bakugo. He's definitely one of the best well-written characters in modern anime to me. His growth as a character as a hero is just absolutely stunning. I love watching Bakugo grow. I love from, when you think he's about to join the league, when you think he's, going to destroy Uraraka, and then there's scenes like in season 6 with him and Deku talking, and you're just like, oh, wow. Those moments when Bakugo opens up are some of the best in the entire show. And a lot of scenes that Bakugo is in really make the show that much better. Again, really not getting into spoiler territories, but Bakugo is one of those characters I feel like you're almost supposed to hate at the beginning, but you end up really really loving them by the end. And his dynamic with Deku and really and how they build each other up, and they're these different, you know, they're very different. But in the way that they add, or like take the way they idolize All Might. Deku loves that he saves people with a smile, and Bakugo loves that he wins. Like they are rivals through and through, but by golly, they bring each other up. And they're not that similar to where it doesn't feel like they're the same character. Oh man, Bakugo is amazing. I could do a whole episode on him. I could do him for pretty much anyone in the top five. But Bakugo, number three for today. Number two, we're going to go into Mirio Togata, otherwise known as Lemillion. I absolutely have adored Mirio from the first time he popped on screen. From even from line, and he's got some of the best lines in the whole series, man. From like "Trash, am I right?" to like "Oh, sorry, I guess you weren't supposed to see my willy." Or what was that one where he's floating in the river? He's like, "What rotten luck! Hope I don't die." Oh my gosh, like he's so funny. He's so funny. But then at the same time, he has some of the most serious moments in the entire show. Mirio is an absolute hero through and through, and one of the best examples of sacrifice throughout the entire show. He's not really one that changes much, but I kind of like that. I like that he did most of his changing and growing before the show really started, because I love that his quirk is so hard to use and he mastered it like an absolute pro. But what you got to realize is how much work actually went into him learning how to control his quirk. And like when you think of the logistics of how he uses his quirk, it's like realistically, I couldn't use that quirk. It would take so much work. There's no way I could use it. Absolutely none. So, yeah, there's that. If you think you could, let me know. I'm curious, but yeah, Lemillion is absolutely such a great character and has brought me to tears multiple times. And a couple of times from laughter. Also, let's not forget his relationship with Eri. Like the way that he's this amazing big brother figure to her. I love it. I love it. And also Amajiki, and like the big three themselves are just absolutely incredible. Mirio kind of takes a cut above the rest because it's freaking Mirio. The way that he's written is, and it's just hard. I could talk about the big three easily. All right, we've gone down the list. We're here at number one. You guys all know who it is. The number one symbol of peace and justice himself, Toshinori Yagi. All Might. Sorry it's not more anticlimactic. All Might is my favorite character in all of fiction. I mean, even like I don't have enough words to describe how great All Might is. I I'm kind of a Zuka Midoriya when it comes to All Might, if we're being honest. Like I just really admire what he stands for. I admire what he like the man took on fear itself and won, is a quote that I saw once describing him. And I absolutely think that's 100% true. He wanted to become a symbol of peace so that people didn't have to be afraid. And that's what he did. I cannot imagine the pressure on his shoulders, the weight that he carried, the burden that was thrust upon him. And yet, he always put on a smile. Whether he believed it or not, the people needed to know the symbol was there. Like All Might's just so incredible. I am here is probably my one of my favorite quotes in anime, if not my actual favorite. Because when he says I am here, watch people's reactions in the show. They start smiling. Their fear goes away because he is here. That's incredible. I won't bore you with too much information about All Might. You guys have probably heard me talk about All Might a lot, but Toshinori Yagi is the number one hero in my book. Now, I'm curious who made your list. Did you agree with the original list in their rankings? Do you have heroes or villains that also should have made this list? Do you think Monoma should have been on your list? Again, reach out to me if you do, because I don't get it. I don't. I just don't. I'm sorry. So, yeah, reach out. All right. Final thing for the episode. We're going to do one more improv thing. So, what we're going to do is I'm going to be doing a scene with, yeah, will this focus? There we go. My Hero Academia, Volume 3? 3, yeah. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to have All Might do, and I have a conversation, but I can only answer in quotes from this manga. He can respond however he wants, and we're going to be in a pretend scene, okay? So All Might is in a Nintendo Smash Bros. Tournament and is about to go up against his contender and is making some, trash talk. You good with that, All Might?
Oh, 100%. I get to put on a little bit of my villain act.
That scene hasn't started yet. I guess it can, though. All right. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, hero. Are you ready to get your butt kicked in the Super Smash Bros. Tournament?
Fear not.
Oh. So you think you're all that in a bag of chips, huh? You think that the number one symbol of peace and justice isn't going to crush you?
You're not all that.
We'll see about that. I'll show you what. I won't even use my main against you. I'll come at you with Little Mac and just United States of Slash you in the face.
You know what, All Might? That pisses me off.
That pisses you off. You what? Let me tell you what. You aren't even worthy of my main. If it makes you mad that I don't even have to go at you using 100% of my Smash knowledge, you should probably just leave now.
How about we hurry up and finish this?
I thought you'd never ask.
All right. That was just kind of too perfect to end it, so I guess I'll just kind of end it there. Um, but yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys being with us. Anime Dad should be back from his lava escapade soon. Please wish him a fantastic day. Reach out to him, tell him that I said hi. You know what? Actually, not only that, reach out and tell him that his hair looks really good today. He will greatly appreciate it, okay? And again, thank you guys for tuning in today. Come back next week for another exciting episode. And to everyone listening, I just wanted to give a big shout out and say,
Go beyond plus ultra.
bye.